Hey everyone, Life Coach Carissa here. As this year winds down, do you start to feel that sense of dread? There's this anxious thought that comes up that makes the year end reflection feel less like a helpful exercise and more like a harsh performance review. The reason we dread it is simple. We use our reflection process against ourselves. And today I am flipping that upside down. I'm going to share how to reflect on your progress without shame or regret, and how to build a supportive new muscle that will drive you into the new year with genuine pride and extreme focus. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This month I have been focusing on gratitude, reflection, and closing the year strong. And today's topic is really vital. It's how to reflect on your year without shame or regret. I mean, think about this. If we go into the reflection process with such judgment and negativity, what are the odds that we're going to set ourselves up for anything different in the coming year, right? So we really fall into this trap. We want to just quit. Because for many of us, the end of the year will bring heavy disappointment. We didn't accomplish all the things we wanted to. We didn't hit our goals, or maybe we never even got started. And instead of using that information constructively, we will use it against ourselves, robbing us of any chance of changing our trajectory for the next year ahead. So I want you to just imagine a sports coach, right? We've all had a sports coach maybe at some point in our life. I want you to picture that coach who gives you zero positive feedback, only 100% negativity and criticism. Who would not get bummed out in that situation and lose all motivation and want to quit? That coach is the harsh voice inside your own head. How do I know this? Because I've had it, and I have worked very diligently to unwire that and create a new coach, a much more kind and supportive cheerleader coach. It's amazing, all right? I set a goal for myself at the beginning of the year, and numerous goals, but one of them, like when I wrote it, I didn't really believe it was possible, but I spent the whole year cheerleading myself and staying grounded and focused. And do you know that I've completely surpassed that goal? And it's kind of hard for me sometimes to completely own that and feel the pride, but I'm working on that, okay? So I want you to just notice that the core anxious thought that we have shouldn't be about what you failed to do. It's got to be about the way you frame the reflection. So instead of asking yourself, what have I accomplished this year? We kind of need to ask ourselves a little bit lighter approach. In what areas do I notice resistance for some of the goals that I have for myself? What is a small action that I can take to support myself in the coming year? I think that is a much more realistic place to start if you're really just beginning to set goals for yourself, loving, supportive goals, and want to encourage yourself to get there. Okay? So really think about that. What areas do I have resistance? What small actions can I take this year to support myself? That's really going to shift you from that judgment to understanding the resistance that you naturally have. That is a much easier place to start. Now, if you feel like you're past that and you just need to set the goals, I want to encourage you to do so. More than ever, I've realized that we thrive when we do have goals and things we're chasing after. We can live our life complacency, but when we set those goals and we chase after them, there is just some type of energy that gets produced that you just cannot replicate in any other form. So I want you to really think about this pressure that you place on yourself to do more. I want you to ask yourself where that intense pressure comes from to be constantly productive and achieving goals, right? I want you to separate the inherited part of that about striving for success that maybe you learned from childhood, young adulthood, and I want you to own it. I want you to own your goals as your own. You're not doing them for anyone else. You are strictly doing them for you. Because I think even beyond some of our inherited programming, it can also come from this pressure from the outside view. The world kind of asks us, what have you accomplished this year? What have you accomplished in your career? What are your monetary assets? How successful do you appear to be? And so I think we never ask people, how have you taken care of yourself very deeply this year? Or in what new ways have you recognized you have a need for personal growth? Because we often focus on external metrics. I mean, they're easier, right? That's easy to compare. I have this, you have this. I've done this, you've done this. But that can create us for feeling like we're inevitably always falling behind. We are taught that rest is something to celebrate. It's hard to make it normalized that it's just really a healthy status quo. It often can feel like failure. We're not doing enough. We're not pursuing enough. We're not trying to achieve enough. And for parents, this can really become a slippery slope with your children because we just bestow that pressure on them. We want them to be doing everything, exceeding in everything, and trying everything. Sometimes we need to recognize that having a break is very healthy. So we've talked a little bit about reflecting on the year and how to turn that into a more empowering process. We've talked about deciding what kind of goals you want to have for yourself this year. Like, be honest with yourself. Are you ready to take on some goals and build up the trust to hold yourself to be accountable? Or do you need to ease into it a little bit more? And maybe it's just noticing where you struggle and trying to make small steps in the right direction in that regard. I think that we do need to pay attention to a very fundamental truth, which is that every thought in your head, every thought is like a sentence, and your brain carries a matching vibration and physical feeling along with those thoughts, right? So we have the thought in our brain. It creates a vibration in our body that brings a physical feeling along with it. And so if you reflect on yourself this past year and what you've done, and you think the thought, the sentence, I didn't do enough, that is going to immediately trigger a feeling of inadequacy. And that inadequacy is going to lead to the next destructive thought, which is, I wasted time, I wasted the year, which is going to trigger regret. And so this negative vibrational loop, this shame leading to regret, it will completely block us from seeing any actual progress. But this is where I want you to know you have a choice. You can choose a different vibration. We can choose a different thought. I'm going to get clear on what I want to accomplish this coming year. And that creates a feeling of possibility and excitement. The next step in that thought process is going to be, what are the small steps I'm going to take to get there, right? When I set goals for myself, they are not just things that I know I can achieve. There are some that are maybe lower in how difficult they're going to be to achieve. And there are some that are going to stretch me and push me much more. But under each of those, there are some little sub steps that it's going to take to achieve that result. And I usually map those out pretty thoroughly so that I know what this looks like, right? If I don't have the coordinates in the GPS of where to go, I'm not going to get there. And that's what goals and outcomes that you want in your life really need to be viewed in the same way. So I think that, we typically only celebrate the big public accomplishments, but that really is a lie. I think the substantial wins are the ones that truly change your quality of life. And they're the ones we often don't talk about, right? They're like the invisible wins. We don't typically celebrate or feel worthy of talking about things like, hey, I really worked on my mindset today. I journaled 50% of the year, and it truly changed how I feel about my life. I took small, short walks every day for my mental and physical health. I set a healthy boundary even when it was uncomfortable with someone. Maybe it's I survived a tough period and I am still here going, right? These small, deep shifts are the foundation of all future success. And if we don't celebrate them, we are really missing the entire point of the journey. So the way you ask yourself the question is crucial. If you want to be that supportive coach that I talked about at the beginning and not the one that's shaming you and being very harsh, I want you to really shift your reflection from one of judgment to one of honest assessment and celebration. Ask yourself these two questions. Write these down. In what ways did I truly try my best this year, even if it felt small? This is going to force you to find the effort, not just the result. And number two, how can I be more supportive to myself while I am pursuing my goals and desires this coming year? And so that really shifts the focus from punishment to partnership. Don't you want to be in a partnership, right? Rather than being so harsh and critical and demanding. So, those two questions: in what ways did I truly try my best this year, even if it felt small to me? And how can I be more supportive to myself while I am pursuing my goals and desires that I have for this coming year? This process is about choosing to become your own loving and supportive coach. So, once you get over the hump of judging yourself harshly and you stop reflecting in these negative ways, you are going to build up this new supportive muscle that you never knew was possible. And this allows you to support yourself in the moments when you need it the most. It's going to prevent you from burnout and driving you forward to just continue chasing goals and dreams without really understanding why and being compassionate to yourself for the journey. So I want you to really consider close this year with genuine pride, not shame. It's going to directly impact your ability to set better goals because you have built a foundation of self-trust. You have built the most loving and supportive way of being with yourself. When you do that, you will have become your very own best friend. All right, everyone. I hope this conversation gave you the permission to celebrate the invisible progress you've made this year. Take those questions, reflect with kindness, and build the supportive muscle you need for this coming new year. If you are ready for more conversations on reflection, gratitude, closing the year strong, setting yourself up for the coming year, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And if you are interested in a full roadmap on how to rewire your own stories, my book, Why Am I Like This, is available on Amazon and will give you a bird's eye view of what it takes to redirect your mindset to build a life you love. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.